When Rob Kardashian sat down for what he called a quiet, personal conversation, no one, not even his family, expected it to become the most explosive moment in Kardashian history. It wasn't filmed for the Kardashians, it wasn't planned, and it wasn't approved by Kris Jenner. But it happened. And when the interview went live, raw, unedited, and deeply emotional, it exposed cracks in the family's perfect image that could no longer be hidden. For years, Khloe Kardashian had been her brother's biggest defender, protecting him from public shame, heartbreak, and his own mistakes. But this time, Rob's words cut deeper than betrayal. Because in his confession, Rob didn't just talk about China. He talked about them all. And what he revealed didn't just break the internet, it broke their family. It started quietly. No cameras, no stylists, no scripted confessions. Just Rob Kardashian sitting in a dimly lit studio, the kind used for serious interviews, not reality television. The air was heavy, the silence almost sacred. For once, Rob wasn't surrounded by makeup artists or producers shouting directions. There was only a single camera, one interview, and the weight of everything he'd kept inside for years. He began slowly, voice shaky but steady enough to carry emotion. "I've been quiet too long," he said. "Everyone has a version of me, the broken one, the failure, the joke. But nobody ever asked what it felt like to be me, to be a Kardashian who didn't want the spotlight." Those words hit hard. For over a decade, Rob had been the shadow of America's most famous family, the brother who stepped back while his sisters built empires. He wasn't chasing fame or endorsement deals. He just wanted peace. But peace never lasted long in that family. As Rob continued, the interviewer, a trusted journalist known for pulling out raw truth, asked him gently, "Why now? Why speak after all these years?" Rob hesitated, rubbed his hands together, and sighed. "Because I'm tired of everyone else telling my story," he said. "Tired of being edited. Tired of being used as a storyline. I want to speak my truth, even if it hurts." And then came the part that changed everything. Rob started talking about China, not as a headline, but as a human. "She wasn't perfect," he admitted, "but neither was I. What people don't know is, we were both broken. We wanted love, but we didn't know how to hold it without destroying each other." He talked about the nights he felt trapped, the days he couldn't face cameras, and how the constant family interference turned love into a performance. He didn't name names, but everyone knew who he meant when he said, "Sometimes, the people who claim to protect you, protect their image instead." That sentence echoed across the internet like thunder. Fans replayed it, dissected it, argued about it. Was he talking about Kris Jenner? Khloe? Kim? But then, as if the tension wasn't high enough, Rob went further. He admitted there was more behind his withdrawal, a family secret that, according to him, had haunted them for years. "I didn't just leave the spotlight because of depression," he revealed. "I left because I saw things, deals, betrayals, lies, that didn't feel like family anymore. We became a business, and I was the product that didn't sell." The interviewer looked stunned. The clip, once uploaded, spread faster than wildfire. Within hours, #Rob Kardashian interview and #Kardashian truth trended worldwide. Millions watched in disbelief as Rob's raw honesty shattered the glossy facade of America's favorite family. Inside the Kardashian home, phones buzzed relentlessly. Kim called Kris. Kris called Khloe. Khloe didn't answer. She sat frozen, eyes glued to the screen, her heart pounding in disbelief. For years, she had been Rob's protector, his emotional shield against tabloids and family drama. She defended him through his darkest moments, often calling herself his second mom. But hearing him imply she was part of the problem, that she had chosen fame over family, felt like betrayal. When the interviewer asked Rob if he still talked to Khloe, he paused. "Not like we used to," he said quietly. "She changed when the cameras started rolling. We all did." Those words crushed her. Within minutes, Kris Jenner's team went into crisis mode, calling networks, flagging headlines, demanding statements be taken down. But it was too late. The video had already gone viral. In the public eye, Rob's confession painted a different image of the Kardashians, one less glamorous, more fractured, and painfully human. But for Khloe, this wasn't just a PR disaster. It was personal. She replayed that line over and over. She changed when the cameras started rolling. To the world, it was just another viral soundbite. To Khloe, it was a dagger, one that reopened every wound she thought she had healed. In private group chats, the sisters debated how to respond.
Kim urged silence. Kris demanded control.
Kylie wanted to distance herself completely. But Khloe wanted answers. She picked up her phone, stared at Rob's contact for several minutes, then put it down again. The hurt ran too deep for a text. That night, she drove through Los Angeles aimlessly, past the same streets where she and Rob used to get late-night ice cream, past their childhood home, past every memory that now felt like a lie. Somewhere between Beverly Hills and heartbreak, Khloe realized something she'd never said out loud. The brother she loved no longer trusted her. And in that moment, something inside her snapped. Quietly, but completely. The morning after the interview aired, the Kardashian household felt different. It wasn't the usual chaos of photo shoots, glam squads, or Kris barking orders from her home office. It was silent, the kind of silence that hums with tension. Inside Kris Jenner's kitchen, phones buzzed non-stop.
Every major outlet wanted a statement. Every PR rep wanted control.
But this time, there was no plan, no pre-approved narrative. Just confusion. Kris, pacing in her designer robe, held her phone tightly. "How could he do this?" she muttered, her voice shaking between anger and heartbreak. "After everything we've done for him." Kim sat quietly at the table, scrolling through clips of Rob's interview on her phone.
Each quote hit like a headline bomb.
"The people who claim to protect you protect their image instead. We became a business, and I was the product that didn't sell." For a woman who built an empire on image, those words were poison.
Kim exhaled sharply. "We need to get ahead of this.
If we don't, people are going to believe him." But Khloe wasn't in the kitchen. She was in her room, blinds drawn, watching the full interview again. This time, not as a sister, but as someone trying to understand where everything went wrong. Rob's voice echoed through the speakers. She changed when the cameras started rolling.
Khloe froze. The sentence stung even more the second time.
She whispered under her breath. "Changed? I was there when everyone else walked away." For years, Khloe had carried the weight of keeping the family together. The peacemaker, the loyal one, the sister who always put her pain aside for everyone else's comfort.
But now, the narrative had flipped.
Rob wasn't just hurt. He was accusing her. Across town, Kylie and Kendall watched the drama unfold from their phones. Kylie, sitting in her minimalist living room, scrolled through comments. Rob finally spoke his truth. "Kris is all about control. His right." Khloe changed the most. Fame got to her. The public wasn't just talking, they were choosing sides. Meanwhile, in a PR meeting that afternoon, Kris Jenner tried to craft a response. "This family has been through worse," she said firmly, though her tone betrayed her unease. "We can't let Rob's emotions undo everything we've built." But Kim wasn't convinced.
"Mom, this isn't about control anymore. This is emotional.
If we go after him publicly, it'll make us look guilty." Kris shot her a look, the kind that reminded everyone she wasn't just their mother, she was their manager. "We have to protect the brand," Kris insisted. "That's what keeps all of this running."
Kim stayed silent, but Khloe's absence spoke louder than words.
When she finally joined the meeting hours later, her eyes were red, not from anger, but exhaustion.
Kris reached out gently. "Honey, he didn't mean it like that.
He's hurting." Khloe looked up, voice trembling but controlled.
"No, Mom. He did mean it."
"That's what hurts the most." There was a pause, the kind of silence only truth could create. Khloe continued. "He's not wrong, though. Somewhere along the way, we did lose ourselves. We turned everything into content. Every argument, every heartbreak. We sold it. Maybe he just finally said what everyone was afraid to." Kim looked uncomfortable.
"Khloe, that's not fair."
"We built something powerful." "But at what cost?" Khloe interrupted, tears welling up. "Rob doesn't even feel like part of this family anymore.
And that's on us."
The meeting ended in silence. Later that night, Khloe got in her car again. This time, not to escape, but to confront. She drove to Rob's gated house, the same one he'd retreated to years ago when the world became too loud. The lights were off, curtains drawn. She hesitated at the gate, then pressed the intercom.
No answer. She tried calling. Straight to voicemail.
Inside, sources later said, Rob was watching reruns of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, old seasons, the ones where he still smiled, still laughed, still called Khloe his best friend. In one clip, She's seen hugging him, saying, "You're my favorite person in the world."
He paused the episode.
His eyes filled with tears. Because somewhere between then and now, that truth had been buried beneath money, fame, and misunderstanding. The next morning, Khloe posted a cryptic story on Instagram. Just a quote against a black background.
"Sometimes love isn't loud.
It's the silence after the storm." Fans went wild, connecting it instantly to Rob's interview. #Khloe Speaks started trending, followed by #Kardashian Family Crisis. Even Tigger, always the wild card, jumped into the conversation. In a late-night live stream, he said, "Man, that family's been hiding stuff for years. Rob just did what none of them had the guts to do."
It was gasoline on the fire.
By the weekend, entertainment shows were calling it the Kardashian fallout.
Tabloids printed headlines like,
"Rob exposes family secrets, Khloe's emotional breakdown." Inside the betrayal, Kardashians torn apart. Kris Jenner's empire shaking after Rob's confession. But inside the Kardashian compound, the damage wasn't just public, it was personal.
Khloe felt betrayed. Kris felt attacked. Kim felt exposed.
And Rob, he felt free.
He had finally said what he needed to say.
But the cost of that truth was higher than he ever imagined. Because in speaking his truth, he had shattered theirs. And the family that built an empire on unity now stood divided, for the world to watch. By the third day after the interview aired, Khloe Kardashian had gone silent. No tweets, no statements, no new posts, nothing. For someone whose life had been broadcast for nearly 2 decades, her silence was louder than any interview Rob could give.
But silence has a way of speaking.
Outside her Calabasas mansion, paparazzi waited day and night. The air was thick with speculation. Sources close to the Kardashians were feeding headlines hourly, most of them half-truths, some outright lies. But behind those walls, the real story was unfolding in private.
Khloe wasn't just heartbroken. She was unraveling.
Friends close to her said she spent hours watching old home videos, moments long before fame, back when she and Rob were inseparable. They were just 2 kids laughing in their dad's old house, teasing each other, protecting one another from the world. And now, that same brother had gone to the world, and painted her as part of his pain. In one clip from years ago, Rob could be heard saying, "Khloe's the only one who gets me." Khloe paused it, tears welling up, whispering to herself, "What happened to us?" But the public didn't care about sentimentality, they wanted drama.
Headlines blared.
Khloe Kardashian suffers meltdown after Rob's bombshell interview. Family war explodes. Khloe blames Kris for pushing Rob away. Fans turn on Khloe, Rob was right about her.
Each notification was a punch to the chest.
Inside, Khloe tried to keep herself together, for her daughter, for the cameras, for her sanity.
But the cracks were showing.
During a scheduled photo shoot for her brand, she broke down mid-session.
Cameras were turned off.
Staff quietly left the room. One witness said, "She just kept saying, 'He was my baby brother. I never wanted to hurt him.'" Meanwhile, Kris Jenner was on a warpath, calling PR strategists, threatening lawsuits, and trying to convince Khloe to issue a statement denying Rob's claims. "People will forget if we control the narrative," Kris insisted during one tense phone call.
But Khloe wasn't listening.
She didn't care about the brand, the headlines, or the image anymore. She cared about the truth, and how it had torn her family apart. Late one night, she finally texted Rob.
"No cameras. No PR. Just heartache. I saw the interview. You hurt me, Rob.
Not because you told the world, but because you didn't tell me first."
No response.
Hours passed.
Days.
Nothing. The silence between them grew heavier with every minute.
But the world outside was far from quiet.
Clips of Rob's interview were now being spliced into YouTube documentaries, TikTok edits, and podcast breakdowns. Everyone had an opinion: fans, critics, influencers, even family friends. Some sided with Rob, praising him for speaking his truth. Others attacked him, calling him ungrateful and irresponsible. But one thing everyone agreed on: the Kardashians weren't untouchable anymore. Khloe, for the first time in her career, felt the public turning on her. Every time she opened her phone, she saw comments like, "She used him for the show." "Rob deserves better." Khloe's crocodile tears won't fix this. She tried to stay strong, but the constant noise chipped away at her resolve. In one emotional moment captured by her team, never meant to go public, Khloe was seen sitting by her window, whispering.
We gave the world everything.
And it still wasn't enough.
It wasn't just about Rob anymore. It was about what the fame had cost them all.
Meanwhile, Rob was staying quiet too, refusing interviews, ignoring calls, and avoiding his family completely.
But that didn't stop the press.
Reporters staked out his driveway, hoping for a glimpse, a soundbite, anything. Inside, Rob's life had become a paradox. He finally had his truth out there, but at the cost of his peace. He had wanted to be heard, not hated. He wanted healing, not war. But the world didn't feed on healing, it fed on chaos. And the more the Kardashians tried to contain it, the more it spiraled out of control. By week 2, the family's public image was fractured.
News ran a headline.
Kardashian family in crisis. Is this the end of an era? And for once, it didn't feel exaggerated. Behind closed doors, Khloe called Kim late at night, voice trembling. "I don't know what to do anymore," she said. "If I defend him, I look guilty. If I stay silent, people think I don't care."
Kim tried to calm her.
"You can't fix this overnight, Khloe. Let it breathe."
But Khloe couldn't breathe. Not with the world dissecting every word her brother had said. Not with millions of strangers arguing about who was right and who was toxic.
That weekend, she finally broke her silence, not with a press release, but through a single Instagram live session. Her eyes were tired, her voice soft, her tone heartbreakingly sincere. "I've made mistakes," she said. "I've said things I wish I hadn't, and maybe I wasn't always the sister Rob needed me to be. But I never stopped loving him. Not for 1 second." Millions watched in real time as Khloe Kardashian, the strong one, the fighter, the unbreakable sister, finally cracked. Tears rolled down her face as she continued. "Family isn't perfect.
We've all hurt each other.
But I just hope one day, he knows. I was trying to protect him, not control him." Within hours, the clip went viral.
#PrayForKhloe trended worldwide.
Celebrities reposted her video with heart emojis and messages of support. But behind the sympathy, one truth remained. The damage was done. And as Khloe's live ended, the camera lingered for a moment longer. On her empty expression, her trembling hands, her silent tears. It was a moment that said everything words couldn't. The Kardashians had faced scandals before.
But this wasn't about infidelity or business.
This was about betrayal. Between siblings, between blood.
And no amount of fame, money, or management could fix that.
It had been 3 weeks since Rob's interview aired, and the Kardashian empire had never been so divided. What once felt like an unstoppable force of unity, image, and control was now a collection of broken hearts, bruised egos, and unspoken words. But what the world didn't know, what hadn't made it to TMZ or the gossip channels, was that there was more behind Rob's outburst than hurt feelings. There was truth. The meeting. It happened on a Sunday night, the kind of night where the family usually gathered for dinner, laughter, and a little bit of performance for the cameras.
But this time, there were no cameras. No glam team. Just raw tension. Kris had called the meeting at her Hidden Hills mansion.
Rob didn't want to come, but after 3 ignored calls from Khloe, he finally showed up, hoodie up, eyes tired, face guarded. Khloe stood by the kitchen island, her hands trembling. When she saw him walk in, she froze, not from anger, but relief. He looked smaller somehow. Not in size, but in spirit. For a few seconds, no one spoke.
The silence was unbearable.
Finally, Kris broke it.
"Rob," she said softly, "you hurt this family.
You hurt your sister."
Rob's jaw tightened.
"I told the truth." "Your truth," Kris corrected, her voice calm but sharp. "But you didn't think about what that truth would do to us."
Rob turned to her. "Mom, all you care about is us. The brand. The show. The image.
What about me?" Kris hesitated, her polished composure slipping for the first time.
"That's not fair," she whispered. "I love you, Rob.
Everything I've done was to protect this family."
Rob laughed bitterly.
Protect the family or protect the business? The question hung heavy in the air.
Khloe stepped forward.
"Rob, please. This isn't helping." He turned to her, his expression softening. For a moment. "You know I love you, Khloe," he said. "But when you started defending them instead of me, that's when I lost you." Her eyes filled with tears.
"I wasn't defending them.
I was trying to hold everything together. I thought if I kept us united, maybe you wouldn't walk away.
Rob looked down.
You don't fix pain by hiding it. The hidden story. As the tension rose, Kim and Kylie sat silently, watching their family unravel. Kendall whispered, "This is what people never see."
And she was right.
Behind every filtered post, every perfect red carpet moment, there was this: pain, resentment, exhaustion. Rob finally exhaled deeply and said something that stunned everyone.
You want to know why I left? Why I shut everyone out? It wasn't just the fame.
It was Dad's letter.
The room fell still. Khloe frowned.
What letter? Rob reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out a folded, yellowed piece of paper.
His hands shook slightly as he handed it to her. It was from Dad, he said quietly. He wrote it before he passed.
I found it years later, hidden in a box of his old files. Khloe opened it slowly, her breath catching as she read the words aloud. To my children, remember, family is not a business. It's love, trust, and forgiveness. Never let the world buy your bond. Tears streamed down Khloe's face. Rob whispered, I kept it because I thought maybe if I reminded us, things would change. But they didn't. We forgot what Dad stood for. Chris's face turned pale. She sat down, hands trembling, eyes glistening.
I didn't know he wrote that. Kim looked away, trying to blink back her own tears.
For a long, heavy moment, no one spoke. The house, the one built on fame, strategy, and control, felt like it was collapsing under the weight of one man's truth.
The aftermath. The family didn't film that week.
The producers were told to pause production indefinitely. For the first time in over 15 years, there were no new confessions, no makeup chairs, no storyboards. Just a family, broken, but real. In the days that followed, Rob's interview continued to make waves. But public perception began to shift.
Viewers weren't mocking him anymore. They were empathizing. For the first time, people saw the humanity beneath the headlines. Khloe, meanwhile, withdrew completely.
No press, no events, no photo ops. Instead, she spent time reflecting and reaching out. One evening, she posted a photo of the letter Rob had shown her, blurred slightly, with a caption that read, Family is not a business. It's love. We forgot that, but maybe now, we'll remember. The internet exploded. Millions of likes, thousands of comments, endless debates. But what mattered most wasn't the noise, it was the silence that followed between Khloe and Rob. Because, for the first time in years, that silence wasn't hostile.
It was healing.
They started talking again, slowly, awkwardly, but genuinely. No cameras, no scripts, no audience. Just two siblings trying to find their way back to each other. The closing moment. Weeks later, a paparazzi shot surfaced. Rob and Khloe at a small diner in Calabasas, laughing softly over breakfast.
It wasn't staged. There was no entourage. Just them. The headline read,
Khloe and Rob reunite. Is the family healing? But to Khloe, it didn't matter what the world thought. For the first time in a long time, it wasn't about the world. It was about them, the real them. That night, Khloe posted one final message on her story. The truth broke us. But maybe, it's what we needed to become whole again. And in that single line, quiet, poetic, and powerful, the entire Kardashian story took a turn. Because for once, it wasn't about fame.
It was about forgiveness.
The world had witnessed the destruction of a dynasty, but also the beginning of something raw, real, and painfully human. The Kardashians had been many things to many people: icons, influencers, villains, visionaries. But in the end, they were just family, fragile, flawed, and finally, honest. And sometimes, honesty costs everything. In the end, the spotlight fades, the headlines move on, and the world forgets. But for the Kardashians, this story wasn't about fame. It was about family. Rob's truth tore through years of silence. Khloe's tears washed away the illusion of perfection. And what remained was something rare in Hollywood: honesty. Because behind every photo shoot, every brand deal, and every viral moment, there's a heartbeat. One that breaks, one that forgives, one that learns. The truth didn't destroy them, it revealed them. And maybe that's what family really is: not unbreakable, but willing to rebuild. If this story reminded you that even the brightest lights cast the deepest shadows, hit like, share, and subscribe to the Story Vault. Because here, we don't chase gossip. We uncover the truth behind the fame.